if you're over 18, get yourself registered, because you know what? You got a long life ahead of you. And if you want to spend it every year worried about Christmas or any other holiday, because the government that you just put in power over you instead of working for you, because they're civil servants, you know. This is my Christmas gift to all you young people out there. The people that we elect to run this country really are civil servants. Look it up. They are not leaders. We are the leaders. We take the lead by putting them in a job. You're giving them a job to basically get things organized, because we don't have time to do it. We got to get up 6 o'clock in the morning or whatever time you get up in the morning, and we got to go to work. We got to earn a paycheck. And we pay our taxes, which pays their salary. And we have to put ceiling caps on all their jobs. So if they want to spend another 4 years making the same salary, that's up to them. It's not, you know, it's not up to them to vote themselves a raise. If they want to stay in there for a third term or fourth term, well, the president can't do that. You know, some positions can. Back in when our government was a fledgling government, it was all volunteer. These guys volunteered their time, and you know, it's amazing how people who were a little more altruistic, who volunteered their time to do something good for our country, they created the Constitution and Declaration of Independence, all these other articles that guide us on our path to being a free society. And somewhere along the line, these so-called leaders decided that, you know, they needed a transportation money and staying overnight at a hotel or tavern money, and this just got woven into being a paycheck. And most of the people that run for politics have money. Not all, but most. Most come from blue blood families. Oh, and speaking of blue bloods, Carolyn Kennedy, you know, we need new blood, not blue blood. And anybody who thinks that Carolyn Kennedy is going to get in there and, you know, do anything different than anybody else, she's got her Uncle Ted in there, and she's going to see him over tea or coffee at their mansion. And, you know, Uncle Ted's going to say, hey, we got this bill coming in, and we're going to need you to, you know, vote this way. And she's going to, you know, because she looks at her Uncle Ted as her leader, her mentor. You know, like he knows something that we don't. You know, the one thing that we all have to know is these people are civil servants. You know, we had an election. The so-called Democratic Party got in our Congress, and good guys like Dennis Kucinich keep screaming about impeaching Bush and Cheney, and you know, we've only got a few weeks left, and that's going to be out the window. They should be arrested. They should be tarred and feathered, and they should be strapped to a rocket and shot into the sun for what these guys did. Because I'll tell you what, Dick Cheney and George Bush and Condoleezza Rice, they're going to have a nice Christmas. They're going to buy really nice presents for their families. And while the rest of us are trying to figure out what we're going to do for a paycheck in a week or two, or 3 or 4, or whatever. And the media that is owned by the two-party system, they keep telling us, well, you know, it's going to be a long ride, a long road ahead, and, you know, just hang in there, people. Well, I don't know about you, but in a couple weeks, my bank account is going to be on 0. I'm still going to get an electric bill. I'm still going to get a phone bill. And I don't know how I'm going to pay them. I'll figure out a way, because, you know, I'm a survivor. And I'm sure a lot of you out there are. All you Joe the plumbers. But Dick Cheney and George Bush and the rest of them, they're going to write books. They're going to go on speaking tours. They're going to make more money. While for the next year, 2 or 3, all of us are going to be suffering, starving, and genocide's still going to take place around the world. Oh, and speaking of genocide, remember that this country was built on genocide. The genocide of the people who lived here before all the white folks got here. And we call them American Indians. They weren't Americans until this became America. They were just the Indians. You know, they didn't even call themselves Indians. We call them Indians because instead of finding a way around to India, we bumped in the United States, you know, or the continent, unnamed, and oh, hey, they're the Indians. Wonder how they feel about being called Indians. They're not even from India. We should be calling them, you know, the Comanches and the Sioux and the Cheyenne and, you know, who they are. I've heard that there's one of the Indian nations is on the endangered species list. In a few years, there won't be any of them left. So, thanks to us. Thanks to us Americans. So, here we are. It's Christmas 2008. So, getting back to you kids who are all upset because you can't say profanity on YouTube. And you know what? You can use a little profanity. There is freedom of speech on YouTube. You just can't, you know, say every other word being, you know, a slang or a profane word, whatever that means. There are rules in life, so you got to follow the rules, you know. And we, the people, should be making rules for these so-called leaders, our civil servants. We got to pull the reins in on our reindeer, on our civil servants. We got to pull them reins in and make them work for us. Make them do what they're supposed to do. Not keep running around back rooms and making deals and making decisions that affect our lives. We should be deciding what affects our lives. We should have a strong economy, and we should be getting ourselves out of the business of everybody else in this world. We should be pulling out of Iraq, and we shouldn't be sending more troops to Afghanistan and Pakistan. You know, people, the truth is, if we pull our troops out of that area, they're going to have to figure out what to do there. And if they start fighting amongst themselves, you know what? They're not going to have time to come here and blow down a couple more buildings. And if we pull all of our troops out of that area and put them all around our borders, we won't have to worry about national security. We won't have to worry about illegal immigration. First of all, we should be offering Mexico state status. And, you know, Canada. We should all join up. Then we wouldn't need NAFTA, you know? Pay the people in Mexico the same as what we're getting paid here, you know? Let's equalize everything on this side of the planet. Let's put up some real barricades, you know? Anybody that comes visiting this country should have to wear a bracelet so that we know where they're at all the time. Sorry, you don't like that? Don't visit our country. Go visit China. They'll send 2 or 3 people to follow you everywhere you go around there, you know? So we should be treating people that come from other countries the same way. And the civil rights groups shouldn't get outraged. You know, Americans have civil rights. People from other countries who want to come here and see what it's all about, sorry, you get a bracelet or you get somebody to walk around with you to make sure that you're not effing things up. People that are here on student visas, give them an ankle bracelet. GPS. Why does that outrage everybody? I don't understand.